Good morning, everyone. Happy Halloween. Yay. So good to see you all today. Yay. So let's stand and sing our opening song.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Yes, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Yes, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Yay. Yay. Please be seated. Woo. So, today we have Reverend Lewis Purdey. He's going to do a super message for us today, and he's going to explain what is sitting out front there. And it's going to be a really cool day, isn't it? Wow. I'm so happy to be here today. And I'm glad all of you are here. And all of you here from home, I'm glad you're watching today. We thank you for being with us today on this lovely Halloween day. Beautiful outside, this beautiful fall day. I just love fall. So pretty. Someone was saying that, she lives farther north. And she said on Facebook, she said, oh, it is turn your heated mattress pad on time. And I wrote back, I said, no, it is one less fan to have on. That's my life. So let us just take a moment and settle into our seats and just open ourselves, our minds, and our hearts out to that beautiful, sweet spirit that is within us all and around us all. And we say, loving spirit, sweet spirit, great spirit. We open our minds and our hearts up to you. We feel the flow of your love and your life through us. And we ask that our mind be your mind, our hearts be your heart, our words be your words, our actions be your actions. And we are so grateful for this, so grateful and blessed. And good morning, spirit of this land and ancestors of this land. We honor and we greet you this day. We thank you for sharing your land with us. We thank you for the wisdom that you share with us. And so it is, blessed be. Good morning, our beautiful ancestors. We know the veil is thinning now, and we asked our ancestors. We are grateful for them. We ask them for wisdom that they so graciously give us. So we greet you this day, our beautiful ancestors. We honor you this day. Blessed be and good morning. And our animal spirits, our helping spirits, our guiding spirits, our angels and our archangels, we welcome you this day. We honor you this day. We thank you for being with us. We thank you for the love and the light and the wisdom that you share with us. And so it is. Blessed be. And to all you beautiful people on the web of life, on the web of the universe, on the web of the cosmos, all you beautiful beings, we share our love and our light with you. And in doing so, we make this earth a better place. And so it is. Blessed be, and amen. And let us stand and sing one of my favorite songs, Weave. Since we're weaving the worlds together, let's stand and sing together.
Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave, weave, weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We from the other. We are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. We are playing in harmony in one great tapestry. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together in love.
And while we're standing, let us greet each other with the Christ in me greets the Christ in you. We know that we are Christ. We know that that beautiful divine being, that beautiful spirit, that beautiful love, the Christ, is within all of us, in all things. So blessed be to you all. The Christ in me greets the Christ in you. 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 You could be seated, please. What a great day today. Wow. I just love Halloween. Some of the decorations now, I swear that I think they outdo Halloween better than Christmas, you know? Wow. Pretty cool. I saw one on Facebook the other day and they had skeletons climbing up the side of the house. Looks really neat. So let us together say our Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center affirmation. Together. Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center is a radiant center of divine life, light, and love. We are a thriving, prosperous spiritual community that honors the divine presence in all and celebrates our oneness through loving service in our community. And together let us say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And let us stand to sing Raising the Veil by Daniel Nemide. We're going to sing it through 2 times.
I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil.
Thank you. Thanks, Paulette.
You're welcome.
Oh, so now is an opportunity for prayer. And we are doing it a little different now. And those of you at home, if you have someone that you wish to pray for while we're doing it here, please either put your hands over your heart or say the person within you that you want prayer for. So let's do that now. Just take a minute to to put your hands over your heart and think of the person that you wish to pray for, or the event that you wish to pray for, anything that you wish to pray for, and just think of that right now and know that God is hearing and knows all things and is already taking care of the situation, already taking care of the healing. So let's bring that to our forefront and think of that. And we see all is well. All is well. And together let's pray our unity prayer together as we center ourselves in one presence and one power. We realize that our thoughts have the power to heal and bless. We send them out now, carrying love, peace, joy, and life to situations and celebrations that have been requested. Thought by thought and prayer by prayer, we transform the world. Amen. And I invite Jude Eastman up. She's our platform assistant today.
So this morning's daily word is protected. I find my protection in the light of faith and truth. If you would say that with me now, Steve.
It's a different one up there.
Oh, my bad. Okay, well this is, okay. So today's is I find my protection in the light of faith and truth.
I find my protection in light and faith of truth.
I smile and act frightened as I recognize the neighborhood children who come to my door wearing scary masks and costumes. Children of all ages enjoy playing make-believe. Pretend fright is part of the fun of Halloween. Now and then, in response to an unexpected and unwelcome challenge, a more serious thought of fear seeps into my mind and upset my emotional well-being. At the first hint of unease, I remember that all of the protecting power of God is as near as my next thought. I say no to fear and yes to faith. My confidence grows as I practice the divine presence, discovering not only the protecting power, but also the guiding love and wisdom of God everywhere I go and in everything I do. For who is God except the Lord? And who is a rock beside our God? The God who girded me with strength and made my way safe. That's Psalms 18, 31, and 32. And an additional scripture from 1 Corinthians 13, 12. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now we have our message and meditation by Reverend Lewis Purdey, and it's the three faces of All Hallows Eve.
So I got inspired just do from individual clearing work, some group healing work, people are also going to have a session with Rhonda to sort of get some insight about, all right, now what? Because it's always about what you do next. So anyway, if any of that sounds interesting, you'll find a flyer up on the bulletin board or behind the door. Please free to check it out. If you have any questions, just let me know. All right. I think I'm on. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Halloween. Happy All Hallows Eve. Happy Samhain. And all those phrases will mean more to you shortly. Now, historically, I have not been a big fan of Halloween. I sort of, at one point, just didn't think of it at all. And then at one point early in my spiritual path, when I was more in the traditional Christian orientation, I saw the darker side of it and really just didn't have much to do with it. So, not that long ago, it just so happened I have an opportunity to come up here, and this was the date that it landed. It's like, let me look into this some more. So I did quite a bit of exploring and had a lot of my spiritual friends have a little conversation with me about what's really going on. And I'm very excited and happy to share. It's a very positive thing. In fact, it's incredibly powerful. So I want to share with you what, from my perspective, are three different faces of All Hallows Eve. There's the fun face, which we're all probably familiar with. There's a fearful face we're kind of familiar with. And then there's the fantastic face, and by fantastic I mean magical, which we may not know as much about, but you will shortly. All right. So, but before we get into all that, I want to just talk a little bit about the history of Halloween, because it's pretty interesting. And for any of you who are the scholarly type and you want to know more, most of what I'm about to share with you in terms of the history is all available in very nice, eloquent prose on history.com. So Halloween has its origins in an ancient Celtic festival that's pronounced Samhain, even though it's not how it's spelled. Now, the Celts were around about 2,000 years ago. They were in modern-day Ireland, northern France, United Kingdom, that whole part of the world. They celebrated their New Year's on November 1st. That particular day represented the end of summer, the beginning of winter. As you can imagine, back in those times, technology being what it was, winter was a time of tremendous amounts of just death in terms of the human family, the human community. And so they were thinking about that. So the Celts believed that the night before the New Year started, the veil between the living and the dead was particularly blurred and thin. They celebrated, where the Druid priests would celebrate with these huge bonfires where they would make basically crop and animal sacrifices to their Celtic gods. They would engage in all kinds of interesting things connected to fortune telling and communing with the higher intelligence as they perceived it, because it makes sense. If you're getting your messages from on high and the veil's thinner, you're a little closer to the font of wisdom, and so they took advantage of that. They also wore costumes, animal skins, furs. They celebrated in so many ways because they really, much like unity, we take refuge in the light within. That was how they perceived it. That's how it showed up from them, from a very naturalistic, shamanistic perspective. All right, so that's several thousand years ago. That's where this starts. Now let's jump up to relative modern day times, to All Hallows Eve. In the 7th century, the Roman Catholic Church establishes November 1st as All Saints' Day, a day they are celebrating all the saints and later all the martyrs. Now at that point, Christianity has really become quite a force, particularly in medieval Europe, and so it's starting to supplant a lot of the different Celtic rites. In about 1000 AD, the church made November 2nd what they call All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead. And many modern scholars think that that was yet another attempt by the church at the time to supplant the older pre-church Christian energy celebration perspectives, if you will. For example, if you look at a map of modern-day Europe and you look where a lot of the major cathedrals are, you'll find they are built right on top of ancient sacred sites that go back thousands and thousands of years. All Souls Day was celebrated in a very similar way to Samhain. They had bonfires, they dressed up as angels and demons, and they basically called this All Hallow Mass, which becomes Halloween when truncated into modern language. Now, obviously, if that's the 1000 AD, we still have a little bit of a jump between that and modern day Halloween. So what happens is, for example, in the 1800s, in Ireland and Scotland, jack-o'-lanterns start to appear, and that's connected with the Halloween tradition. When the immigrants started to come to America, they brought that with them. In the 1930s, haunted houses became quite a thing, became very popular across the country. How many of you remember when you were younger actually going to like the county fair or the local, they used to have one near the Coliseum, just a fair of some type, and then have that little haunted house, which was incredibly cheesy and silly, you know, me at age 57 looking back, but at the time it was great fun. In the 1950s, Halloween costumes started to become very standardized, celebrated across the country, and then of course things evolve into where we are now. All right, so that's just a little bit of history about Halloween. I found that pretty interesting. So now let's talk about these three faces. You know, I thought of think of it, you know, you think about the Trinity in the way, this is the Trinity of Halloween. So there's the fun face, all right? So the fun face, think about Halloween decorations. Think about candy. Think about parties that are sometimes way too spirited, pun intended. Think about all the aspects of Halloween that connect us to friends and family and community. I can remember when I moved to Newport News, the first time I celebrated Halloween, my wife Sharon and I, and thank you for being here today, she and I and our youngest stepson Ryan and our dog Rudy took a walk through the neighborhood on Halloween. Now, I was not raised with dogs. This is my very first time having a dog on a leash. That was interesting. But what I remember is that the neighborhood was very beautifully decorated. One particular yard had this giant blow-up castle with all these scary things around it, and I thought that was very creative. So I think all of us probably have a pretty good connection to the fun side of Halloween. All right, let's switch to the fearful face. Think about horror movies. Think about scary stories at camp or around the campfire. Think about things that go quote-unquote bump in the night. Werewolves, demons, all kinds of critters and creatures that would come up and do unpleasant things to us. Think about a Hallow screen, which is a Busch Gardens just a stone's throw from here, where people are paying serious money to get terrified for hours at a time. Not exactly my bag of tricks. So on the one face, on one aspect of the fearful face, Halloween represents those things that are unknown, unsafe, pretty terrifying to an already insecure ego. But it also represents our attempt to process those fears, to cope with them, to work through them in some way. Because, as was mentioned earlier, even though Halloween is seen as make-believe, there's plenty of things that people find fearful in day-to-day life. So my background is as a psychologist. So I found myself thinking about, as I'm putting together notes for this talk, why do we like to be frightened? What's going on with that? So here's a few things to ponder. Being scared will give us a thrill, sort of activates that flight or fight response, but does it in a safe way. You know, even if you go to Halloween 6 or whatever the current version of that slasher is, and you get scared and you are not going to stay at home at night for the next 3 weeks, at some level you recognize it's just a movie. So you're okay, and yet you still get that thrill. But it also teaches, horror can teach us how to cope with stress and anxiety. Again, at some level you realize it's not real, and yet remember, the way the mind works is if you imagine something, particularly with clarity and intensity, the brain does not distinguish from it actually being in front of you and it actually happening at a neurochemical level. You know, and that can work to your favor or not, depending on what you're imagining. And finally, working with horror actually lets us flirt, if you will, with the dark side. There's a lot of things in modern Western society that are given a really bad rap. We are not really given permission or encouraged to look in the dark, because from Unity perspective, if you look in the dark, what will you find? You'll find the light. Because at the end of the day, that's all there is. So the dark is just an illusion. It's a way to hide the real when we're not yet ready for it. So sometimes our fears can be a doorway to to tremendous learning. And we have to look sometimes. And so horror is a way to deal with that, at least a little bit. So finally, the third face is what I call the fantastic face. And this is the one I really had fun with, both reading about and tuning into and getting my spiritual friends to talk to me about. So think about looking through the veil that separates the living and the dead. Imagine that all the people that you've loved and seemingly lost, in quotes, at some level of energy, vibration, consciousness are still with you. They're much more aware of you than you are of them on average, and they love you just as much as ever. Think about everything that's supernatural. Ancestors, angels, fairies, other dimensions, all kinds of aspects of life that are so much beyond the 3D world. Think about that as really being showcased on Halloween. The fantastic face of Halloween represents the magical, the mystical, the mysterious parts of life in terms of what we're doing as we walk through this earth school. It's a tangible reminder that we are spiritual beings having a human adventure. And that if we perceive it, if we recognize it, if we'll be open to it, there's a lot more walking around with us than meets the eye. In fact, we're invited, and this is, of course, when I grab my Unity bus and hitch it up to the Halloween wagon, and where does it take me? We're invited to look at the world around us with new eyes, eyes of spirit, eyes of heart. We're invited to see the light, the beauty in everything and everyone, which almost by definition transcends the physical. We're invited to remember a very important, simple, but very important idea. And for me, it's a truth. Death is not the end. Death is just a door. Now, as I was in meditation this morning, I was encouraged to talk a little bit about that. The modern literature tells me that the two greatest fears, or at least two of the greatest fears that people contend with, are public speaking and dying. Okay, it's public speaking after 20 years, I'm okay. I'm good with that, all right? Death, I'm working on. It helps when you can remember dying before and you realize you got over it. That's definitely a comfort. But it's important to remember the idea of death is not just about the end of physical life, it's about transformation in general. And isn't the only constant in our experience change? So if you take death and depersonalize it, it's not just the big death when you leave this physical world. What if death was really just a symbol for change, and why don't we make it positive change? Maybe death can become our friend, our ally. Maybe we look at whatever is in our life right now and ask ourselves, what can we change for the better? And when we let something old go that no longer serves us, in a way, it goes through a little death, and that's okay. Death is a part of life. It's part of the great cycle. It's important for us to remember that we are more than this. We get to decide, is that something you believe, something you hope, or something you know? As for me, I'm working to the best of my ability to walk what I call the mystical path, which means it's not just about faith and hope and ideas, it's about my experience. I can remember living before. I can even remember dying a few times. Sometimes it was more pleasant than others. The point is, it was kind of like me coming home from a long day at the office in my three-piece suit. I go home, I change clothes, I change to something more comfortable. Am I not still me? Okay? When we leave this world, that's all it is. We change clothes. I hope that that idea, as you ponder it, will give you a little comfort. Death is not an enemy. It's actually a great friend, particularly when you understand it from the larger transformation effect. All right, so those are the three faces. Now imagine those three faces were more than just a frame of reference. Imagine that they were a personification of divine wisdom. If those three faces were to show up floating in the air right beside me, and they were to look at all of us, what messages might they have for us on Halloween that we could remember, not just a Halloween, but year-round? So here's some food for thought. From the fun face, I'm a reminder of the importance of connections, shared activities, relationships with those I care about, those that are important to me, whether they're connected by blood or not. think about all the challenges we've had in the last, year and a half, 2 years with COVID. It's given most people the opportunity to re-examine what's important, what isn't important, change some priorities. And at least for a lot of people I know, myself included, those personal connections become more important. So the fun face reminds us to honor that, to make time for the people in your life that matter, because they're important. That really is kind of the bottom line. Relationships matter. So invest your time and energy where they do the most good and where you'll find the most joy. From the fearful face, I'm a reminder that the truth is below the surface, that what we know with the human mind and feel with the human heart is always only part of the story, and that sometimes our fears can be the doorway to wisdom. For example, as human beings, a lot of times we will become alone, we'll become frightened, become vulnerable, and yet if we pondered one of the truths that Master Jesus shared with us, I and the Father are one, if you really understand at the heart level what that means, what's there to be afraid of? When I was thinking about that this morning in my own meditation, the phrase that came to me is, with God revelation, with God realization comes peace. And that's certainly true in terms of the fear of death. The bottom line in terms of the fearful face is that fears can be our teacher, or at least direct us to something that if we will learn from and dig beneath the surface, there's something there for us. In fact, I had a teacher of mine many years ago say you could use fear as a compass to determine what is the next thing, if you work on, will give you the most bang for your buck, the most benefit. Ask yourself, what are you most afraid of in this life? There's something in there, in the symbolism of it, that will give you an important lesson. And finally, from the fantastic face, it's a reminder that there's magic and wonder in every moment all around us if we'll choose to see it. Now, what does it take to see it? Two things. First off, you have to have the faith that that wonder, that magic exists in all people, in all places, in every moment. No matter what's going on in the outer world, no matter what the news reports, no matter what's going on with the political mayhem, doesn't matter. That light and love is there if you choose to see it. And then, it's important to see it with the eyes of the soul, not just the eyes of the ego intellect. The takeaway for me when I think about the fantastic face and that message is learning to perceive and trust that still small voice within. We have a logical mind. It's incredibly useful, incredibly wonderful to work with, and it's also terribly incomplete. We have to connect to something more, and that's more of a heart thing than a mind thing. That intuitive voice will lead us wherever we need to go if we'll learn to listen and trust it. And of course, it starts by believing that it's there to begin with. I hope that some of these ideas will be something you can keep in mind, not just on Halloween, but just in general. The other thing I got this morning in meditation, which I thought was interesting, we get so caught up in times, in dates, in events. We put everything in nice little orderly boxes because we're trying to make sense of a chaotic world. From Spirit's perspective, there's no veil at all. All the things that we talk about wanting to connect to and perceive that help us, that support us, that can fill us with hope, they're always available. All we have to do is choose to look. And it starts with a positive intent. It's to start with a loving energy at the heart level that we want to connect to something more, something beautiful. And we start by hopefully what we see in the mirror. If you really want to connect to Halloween, want to stick to what's behind the veil, start with yourself. I'll start with myself. Look in the mirror and see the light behind the mask. I've gotten very attached to this mask. And yet, if I am fair, it's looked a little different through the ages. The inner light, however, looks exactly the same. Looks like, for me, it's a beautiful, multicolored, opalescent, radiant sun. That's how I see my soul. So, hope you've enjoyed some of these ideas. But now, time to go beyond ideas. I was told years ago that beautiful ideas are like beautiful paintings on the wall of a great museum. They're lovely to go and look at, and yet you don't tend to take them home. We need to do something more than just hear the ideas. So what I'd like to do in the energy of Samhain, Celtic Day of the Dead, I'd like to lead us through a little meditation. But before I do that, please go ahead and start displaying some soft music. Let me talk about what's in the center of the room up here. And feel free to come and take a closer look after the service is done. So I wanted to create something symbolically and energetically to support what we're about to do with this meditation. We have a beautiful pyrite skull that really connects to both our idea of human mortality, but also to the light within that transcends that mortality. Below it, we have a beautiful black obsidian sphere. For those who work with crystals, black obsidian being volcanic glass is very grounded to the earth. But black obsidian is also a great teacher. Helps us connect to sort of what's under the hood, all the subconscious patterns running around, writing our life that we aren't even aware of. So this grid, this little bit of spiritual art is going to support us. We're also going to do a little work with somebody you may not have heard of, beloved Azrael, the angel of death. Now, Azrael, the legions of angels that work with Azrael literally are probably some of the busiest angels on the earth, because every single time somebody dies, those angels support that transition process. And equally importantly, those angels enfold and bless and comfort those that remain that are mourning. I've had a few encounters with dear Azrael over the years. Incredibly compassionate, kind, understands intimately how we at the ego level are pretty much clueless about what's going on and where we're going. And yet, we don't have to be. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable, uncross your hands and legs and feet. Allow yourself to get relaxed. If you're comfortable with it, please close your eyes. Just take a nice deep breath. I'd like you to take a moment and I'd like you to think about somebody that has passed beyond the physical. Someone you dearly love. Maybe a parent or a grandparent. Maybe a brother, maybe a sister, maybe a beloved friend. The being that comes to mind might not even be a person. Perhaps it's a loved pet. Doesn't matter. Just pick someone that comes into mind, comes into heart, that you love dearly. And as I say this simple prayer, I invite you to imagine that they are literally, vibrationally, standing right in front of you. Beloved Azrael, angel of death, angel transitional, angel of hope, we call to you now. We ask you to send your angels to enfold us and bless us, to help us to perceive beyond the logical mind, the 3D world, the five senses. Connect at the heart level with those we are remembering now. We invite you to help us feel the love they send us in return. Help us to know that we are literally never alone. Those who love us on the other side of the veil are with us always. We thank you for your help today to feel that presence, not just on Halloween, but any day we choose to connect, to receive, to allow. For all these things, we are grateful. Now, with your eyes closed, I invite you to take a nice deep breath. Focus on your heart. And just imagine you are enfolding that person, that pet that you're thinking about, in just a beautiful pink light, unconditional love. If you still feel inclined, you might place your hand over your heart. It's up to you. Allow that love to flow. Communicate to that dear one just how you feel about them. And know that love is beyond space and time. And they get it. They feel it. And I invite you to feel their love in return as they make that heartfelt connection with you. I invite you to just sit in this space for just a minute, feel that connection, feel that love, and allow them to drop into your mind and heart. Perhaps a message, perhaps an image, perhaps an idea that will comfort you or be helpful to you in some way. I invite you to receive that now. it's time to return our focus to this room, this plane, this physical realm. Take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to those you connected to. Say thank you to those who work with us, the angels, the masters, the gods, animal spirits, however you characterize them, from whatever religious or spiritual frame of reference. We have so much help, and Halloween is a wonderful time to remember that. So whenever you're ready, open your eyes, move your hands and feet. And once again, happy Halloween. Happy All Hallows Eve. Happy Samhain. Happy life. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Reverend Lewis, for that wonderful message. I personally love all three faces. Yay. Oh, what a nice treat. That was phase one. Have fun.
Thanks to JS Bob.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So now is an opportunity for to bless this spiritual center, Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center. So if you will take your offering out and hold it in your hands or hold it over your heart and just feel the love flowing from your hands or from your heart into that blessing. We are so grateful for the offerings that you share with us. And let us together say our prayer of plenty. Now this is new. We started it last week, and it's just a wonderful affirmation. It was in our newsletter last week too, or update last week. So it's a wonderful affirmation for Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center. So together, in the infinity of this moment, all is perfect, whole, and complete. We acknowledge the one presence and one power expressing through us and Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center every moment of every day. We open our hearts to the wisdom and intelligence that exists in the universe and in our minds, through which all answers, resources, opportunities, solutions, creativity, and all healing comes. All doubt is released as we trust that our needs are being met in this moment. Divine order is unfolding for our highest good now, and so it is. I am so blessed. I am so blessed.
I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful for all that we have. We are so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed.
And we truly are so blessed here at Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center. We thank you for the offerings that you all have given, either here in person or through PayPal. Those of you on the internet, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. You bless this center. You bless this center and all of us here. And when you bless us, you receive. You receive the love and the light of God. And also, as you bless this community here, we are able to bless our community around us. And for that, we are very grateful. And so it is. And Jude has a few announcements for us.
All right, next Sunday is the time when we need to turn back our clocks, daylight savings time. So, get an hour. Next Sunday, we will also be doing Remembrance Sunday. We have a little table over here. Our special service will honor family members, friends, pets that are no longer with us. So if you'd like, bring a picture or a memento to place on the table during the service. Reverend Jan will be sharing a special message. On Sunday, November 14th, Reverend Laura Barrett Bennett will be returning with a message for us all. On Saturday, November 13th, Reverends Jenny and Denise will be promoting Unity Williamsburg Spiritual Center at the Holistic Wellness Expo of Hampton Roads at the Newport News Marriott at City Center. So we're looking for volunteers that can help work the table, give out information. So contact either Reverend Denise or Reverend Jenny if you would like to volunteer. We still have our book table in the back, and as always, new books will be finding their way to the table. If you find something you like, take it, and if you can leave a love offering, that would be appreciated. You may also bring in appropriate books from home that you're willing to share with others and add it to the table. Prayer chaplain today will be Amy Sheo in the back, and she will be in our chaplain's corner offering one-on-one private prayer. If you have a prayer request during the week, also you're welcome to email us at prayerunitywilliamsburg@gmail.com. All one word, prayerunitywilliamsburg@gmail.com. And all prayers are held in the strictest of confidence. If you'd like more information about Unity Williamsburg, go to the website, unitywilliamsburg.com. There's a little information box that'll pop up. If you're not on our mailing list and you'd like to be on our mailing list, you can fill that information out, because we'd love to stay in touch about things that are upcoming, our different speakers, and our different offerings.
That's
Unless
it.
anybody has anything else.
Does anyone else have an announcement? Okay. Yes, we have goodie bags. Thank you, Reverend Jenny. So please stand and let's sing our peace song and prayer of protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as a mediator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Oh, thank you, Reverend Lewis, for joining us today and sharing that wonderful message. We are very grateful. Thank you. Thank you all. We got some Halloween goodies in the bank. Thank you all for joining us. Please join us in fellowship. That would be fabulous, and I'm sure you will be. Have fun looking at the Halloween stuff and the Halloween treats. Yay. So as we go out this week, so let us just share our love and our light and our presence of the God that is within each and every one of us, and share the joy and the fun that we all get in celebrating Halloween or Samhain. And we share that with everyone that we meet. Blessed be to you all. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.